What's going on, everyone? And welcome to another episode of the Brave and Faithful podcast. I'm your host, Raiden Dionisio. Today, I have a special guest with you guys. I've known him when we went through the FitOps Foundation several years ago in 2017, I believe. He's an Army veteran. He is the fitness manager and personal trainer at Vision Fitness MMA, and also head coach of Results by Effort. He is Lloyd Fowler. What's going on, Lloyd?
Going on, man?
So, yeah, before we get started on what you're doing now, can you just tell us a little bit about your service?
Yeah, I did 6 years in the Ohio Army National Guard. Deployed to Iraq for 9 months. I got out in 2012. Was a 14 Juliet, which is air defense artillery.
Mhm.
That's about it, man. I liked my time in, missed the brotherhood and all that stuff. So,
What do you think was your biggest takeaway from the military?
uh, I would say brotherhood, service, leadership, and commitment and dedication.
Okay. So, we hear a lot about the transition from military to civilian, and obviously other people have a hard time with it. How was yours? How was your transition, and how did you go about into your second service?
It was up and down. I got deployed within the last year and a half of my service. So coming back from Iraq, after we came off deployment, I had 4 months left. Those 4 months, I didn't have to go to drill, so I didn't. Went through a stage where it was kind of tough transitioning from Iraq to home. All the PTSD and stuff, like going home, driving down the road, seeing something on the side of the road, being nervous to drive past it, trying to get out of that always on mentality that you have, when you're deployed to you're not on at all anymore. Because I got completely out and started going back to school and working at GNC. So that was tough managing like civilian completely. Like, no, with it being in the guard before deployment, I could go into the guard, put that hat on, and then after my weekend was over with, I put my civilian hat back on. But then being deployed for 9 months, I had the hat on for 9 months. Well, a year, because the pre-mob 9 months and the demob, and then taking that hat completely off when I got home was kind of hard to transition into. A lot of I went into a state of depression and alcoholism and all that stuff, and had to work my way through all of that first and all that.
So, I mentioned earlier that we met through FitOps, I believe in November 2017. What were you doing before that, and how did you learn about the foundation?
So I was a store manager at GNC.
Okay.
Starting in 2016, yeah, 2016. Um, so at our manager meeting, the performance rep came in and told us about FitOps, and I was pretty much like done mentally and checked out with GNC. So when they told me about that, I was like, here's my out of being in a job that literally sucked the life and want to do anything out of me. And I was always working out. So I went to camp, or I applied to camp, and then got accepted, went, and been in it since.
That's awesome. So, not a lot of people know, but you came in there, uh, as a student, basically, but you didn't leave us. You basically were one of the squad leaders,
Yeah.
right? Can you just tell us a little bit about that and how that all kind of come about?
So obviously, like you said, went there as a squad or as a student. Um, I want to say about 3 or 4 days into camp, our squad leader had some stuff going on and got sent home.
Mhm.
So the leader of the camp, or director of the camp, needed someone to step up and lead our squad and group, and I volunteered for it, and that was that.
It's awesome. You just man up, be like, hey, I'll do it.
Like, screw it, man. Like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad because it was like I didn't have to teach. It was just I had to be accountable for everyone, making sure everyone was in the right spot,
All right.
and just kind of lead the group through study and making sure that everyone was where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing, wearing what they're supposed to be wearing, all that stuff.
And it sounds familiar, like being back in the military.
Being back in the military is like I don't. But the thing was, like, I didn't have to teach the material. I literally
Right.
just have to manage where everyone was and what they're doing.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. And next, one before you know it, you're, like I said, you were a student. You came in there as a student, and then next thing you know, you're like one of the leaders. And I think I speak for everybody. You did a great job at it.
Thank you, man.
So before FitOps, were you doing personal training, or
Oh,
you did it after that?
I would have people like work out with me. Like, I had a group of people that I would like work out and take them through workouts, but I was never like hired on as a trainer anywhere.
Okay. How did you? What would you say? How did your time in the Army help you with becoming a personal trainer?
Um, with being in the military, you have to have some sort of discipline to you. You have to be a leader. You have to be able to get people to do things. So you have to be a motivator. You have to be a coach through certain situations. Um, you have to be dedicated,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all things that you have to be as a personal trainer. Well, a good personal trainer. You have to have all those qualities as a good personal trainer to actually succeed in the field. So being in the military for 6 years, regardless of it being guard, I was there for 6 years. Kind of instilled those qualities in me, and I just let it translate into personal training.
Yeah. I love the things that you pointed out. Simple as they may be, sometimes it's hard to find that a good personal trainer or a coach that will hold you accountable, right?
Right.
That will help you to actually make a change in your health and fitness goals. So, so going into that, how long? So you basically became a personal trainer after FitOps, right? So it's been about 3 years.
Yep. No.
And
Shoot. Next month will be 3 years.
yeah. So how did you what Vision Fitness? How did you come about into that work, and how did this results by efforts get started?
Let's start with the results by effort. I was laying in bed at camp, and it was the night. It was literally the night after we had our business day.
Yeah.
And we had to pitch the elevator pitch to who we had to pitch to, and I had to pitch to Matt Hesse. So I was super nervous going in because this is like my first time sitting down with the Matt Hesse, the founder of FitOps, and I'm like, oh, really? So I kind of told him my vision of what I wanted to do in the fitness industry. And we talked, and what I got out of it is you get in or you get out of anything you do in life what you put in. So I was laying there and I'm like, what am I going to call this movement that I'm going to start? Because you have your own brand, it's more than just like a name. It's like it's something you stand for.
Right.
So results by effort came from you get out what you put in. So the effort you put in leads to the results. And that's how that name came about. And then when I got home, I started doing personal training out of my garage. I had it was a 2-car garage that I set up as a garage gym that I was doing one-on-one clients with. And about a year, I won't even say year, it was about 8 months because it was May of the next year, May of 2018. My freshman strength and conditioning coach owned a gym, and he was looking for someone to manage the fitness side.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me a call, or he called me and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, yeah. We sat down and talked about the details, and that's how I became the fitness manager at Vision Fitness and MMA. When I got there, it was just Vision MMA. He wanted to start a whole fitness side, so kind of got into there, started this whole fitness side, running group classes on that side. He had a group class, but he wanted to expand it into like actual coming in, people being able to come in and work out, get personal training, nutrition, and all of that. So that's how that came about.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know we talked about this before we went on, but I just wanted you to tell our audience, because that's just an example of somebody that just took action, right? He didn't wait. He didn't, you know, ask for anybody. He just did it himself, and kind of just learned through just getting started, and creating that vision that he had with this brand. And I commend you for that, man, for just taking action, because not a lot of people would do that. They just think about it and contemplate, and next thing you know, it's a year, 5, 10 years from now, and they wish they could have started earlier, but you took action, so I commend you for that.
Thank you. I mean, like the hardest thing to get people to do is to take that first step. I'm
Yeah,
sure you know, like with starting your own brand and having your own clients and everything. Like if you can get people to take the first step, or if you are trying to hit a goal and you take that first step, once you start, it snowballs from there. So you take that first and you get the stack going, and then you start taking, instead of steps, you're starting to run.
Yeah.
And then from running, you go to sprinting, and then it's just, you got to take that first step.
Most definitely. So for those of you guys who's joining us, talking to Lloyd Fowler of Results by Effort. So Lloyd, what's been, I guess not worst experience, but what's been the most challenging time since you started this brand?
COVID, honestly. Like when you asked me the question before, I couldn't think about anything,
Right.
but then it's COVID. It's like the world literally, well, I won't say the world. Yeah, I guess you could say the world, but most importantly, like the country shut down. And then for in-person training, everyone was scared to go around people.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day, people are scared to go around other people, mask on or mask off. I lost 90% of my clients to COVID. Those 90% was all my in-person clients. So I was able to kind of transition some to online and give them home workouts. But all of my, I won't say all, most of my online clients, they kind of stayed because a lot of them were doing stuff on their own already. I just transitioned them to at-home workouts. A lot of people were working in person with me because they didn't have the discipline to go to a gym by themselves.
Yeah.
And then when gyms shut down, they couldn't go anyway. So kind of recovering from that once they allowed us to open the gyms back up, that was pretty rough. But it came, I can say that I was in a position to be very blessed and get most of my clients back and some.
Okay.
And some others.
So I guess, obviously with COVID still going on, so for other personal trainers that might be listening, what's one advice that you give them during this time?
Just keep pushing. People are going to tell you no. It's still hard to get people to commit to in-person training with everything going on. Some people are still afraid to go into the gym. And don't be afraid to get out of your box and do online trainings via Skype, via Instagram Live with certain people, not Skype, Zoom, stuff like that. Don't be afraid to get out of that box, because some people don't have the comfort to go into a gym. You may be that saving grace for that client, and it may have to be through Zoom. That may be you being an online trainer may get you a clientele that you actually seek out. You're just doing it in a different platform than in person.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, have you transitioned, or have you kind of created an online program?
I do have an online program. I don't market it much because with everything that I'm doing in person, I don't have a lot of time to do Zoom trainings. Um, the online programming that I do right now is with gyms being back open. You take the program, you go to the gym by yourself. I do have one client um, where I do a Zoom meeting with him for 45 minutes. It's once a week.
Okay.
Uh, if I had more time, I would like to do it, but obviously I can't with the schedule that I have.
So, being a fitness manager and also a personal trainer, what would you say has been the most rewarding moment or experience you've had as a personal trainer?
Um, Seeing the look and feeling of accomplishment, and not even seeing it like with my online clients, just having them getting the messages from them that they feel like they accomplished something when they hit their goals that we set out.
Yeah.
Seeing someone hit a personal record or a PR on a certain lift or a run, um, having clients excited that they're having to buy new clothes because their clothes are fitting looser than they
Yeah.
were when they started. Just little things like that, just helping people out.
Yeah. I mean, you know, being a personal trainer as myself is that's just the most rewarding, right? It's just like you just helping people and then just having them either like leave you a message or commenting like, "Hey, I lost this many pounds and like, I made a gym a routine now."
Yeah,
It's just crazy, like the the difference in the things that you can do as a personal trainer.
yeah. I've even had I'm not going to say his name, but I've had a male client gain the confidence to ask his now girlfriend out on a date because he was doing the
Wow.
online program and he went to the gym every day, and he didn't have the confidence because of how he looked. So he was going to the gym, and once he felt comfortable enough because of the weight loss he had sustained, he had enough confidence to go up to his now girlfriend and ask her out on a date. So like I was like, oh man, dang.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, Lloyd, for those that are listening and maybe seeing this, they want to get into personal training, they want to become a coach, do what you're doing. What's one actionable step that you can give them right now in pursuit of that?
Um, don't be afraid to start the process. Um, buy the program, buy the book, start studying, and kind of get over that initial fear of failure.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you start something new, you start a new journey, there's some sort of fear of failure. You got to get over that in order to start. And just because it seems hard in the beginning doesn't mean that it's impossible.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And it will be hard in the beginning because it's something new you haven't done before. Um, but eventually, as the effort that you put in, like what you
Right.
said, will get you the results that you want. Whether that be, I mean, that could be in anything in general, whether personal training or whatever you want to do. Um,
Like
I know,
I failed the personal training test twice. I failed
yeah,
it twice. And then the third time I got it. I was like, I'm going to get it this time. And I failed both times by one point.
yeah. So, I don't know if anybody else knows, but since you shared that, I failed the tests at FitOps by 2 points.
Yeah.
And at the end,
Remember.
we had that rewarding. I was like the whatever student, and I was like, I felt like a failure, man,
Yeah.
after I got the results. But
Yeah.
I stuck with it, right? Like I didn't take that failure. I learned from it.
Right.
And I eventually got my certification through another organization. And then here I am just doing my thing, and you're doing your thing as well. After
Right.
two failures, you stuck with it.
Yep.
I think that's the great message. Just learn from your failures.
Yep.
So Lloyd, coming into the last part of our first segment here, what's one thing you want our listeners and viewers to take away from this episode?
It's kind of like what we just talked about. Learn from your failures, and hard doesn't mean impossible. Just a lot of times with society today, we get one failure and we quit. Like this
Yeah.
is a microwave generation and society that we live in. We want things quick. We don't like to take the hard road. Everyone wants the easy way out. And it's less rewarding, honestly, taking that easy way out. So I think that's what's pushed me to learn more in the fitness and wellness industry, because I did fail. So I did fail the test twice, and it is something that I enjoy doing. So now, like I hold myself to a higher standard than I did before. And each time that I get a new, certificate, or I want to learn something new, I hold myself to that much of a higher standard.
That's awesome, man. Can you repeat that? You said the microwave. What was that?
Microwave generation. Like we want everything quick, man.
I don't think I've heard that before, but I appreciate you for sharing that. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
microwave generation, man.
That's awesome, man. So coming into a second segment here, Lloyd. This is what I call the Fast Five. Same 5 questions I ask my guests. So first question: what's one hobby you enjoy?
Sports.
Any sports?
Sports, primarily football, basketball, track.
All right. Second question: if you had to choose one person, dead or living, to hang out with for one day, who would it be and why?
Dion Sanders, my man, prime time.
Prime time. What's one question you want to ask him?
Ooh, one question. I got to narrow it down to one.
Well, what would be your top your number one question?
My number one question would probably be, is there ever time that you wanted to stop doing it? And when he wanted to stop doing it, what got him through wanting to stop doing it? Like what kept him going?
Dion Sanders, arguably probably the best two-way athlete
Oh yeah,
ever.
between him and Bo, man, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
which like you can't go wrong with either. But
yeah.
obviously,
You can't. Both are great. Bo had a shorter career because of
yeah,
his injuries,
because of
but
his
Dion,
injury.
yeah,
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 I mean Dion played even well when he was on the I won't say well. He played average when he was on the Ravens, and he was like well in his 30s.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's
hell
awesome.
of an athlete, man.
All right. So next question: recommend a book for our audience to read.
Find Your Why. I gotta remember who wrote it, but it's called Find Your Why. And there's a prequel or sequel called Use Your Why or something like that.
Okay.
But Find Your Why.
Find your why. I love that because we talk about that a lot on the podcast. What's your why?
Yeah.
So next question: what's your favorite quote and why?
Never forget your why. And the why is if you never forget your why, you kind of stay driven, you stay motivated to just keep hacking away at what you want to work for.
Yeah. So just going back into like the whole personal training thing, I don't know if you asked the same question, but I ask my clients, what's your why? Initially, it's something superficial, right? Like I want to lose, so and so pounds or whatever, and then you keep asking them, well, why do you want to lose that many pounds? You
Yep.
ask them 2 or 3 more times, and you find out their real why,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And that's a great point.
I mean, a
I,
lot of them, a lot of people don't dig deep into their why. They only start at their service level, and
yeah,
ultimately, that's what gets us into this microwave generation. Um, we only scratch the service level of our why
right,
instead of getting deep into our why. If we have a deep rooted why, it's very concrete instead of made out of paper.
right.
So that foundation of a solid why will keep you going even when times get tough, even when you want to quit.
Most definitely. And then my last question to you is, where do you see yourself in a year, 5 years, or even 10 years from now?
Still in the health and wellness and fitness industry. I would love to be working with athletes full time. There's nothing wrong with general pop and running group fitness, but I have a real passion for helping athletes get better in their athletic ability and being able to see it translate to their sport, whether it's a field sport or court sport or an individual sport like track or something like that. Just love seeing, like, working with the person and seeing it develop into the actual skill and performance.
Is there anything specific, like which type of sport or?
Um, I love working with football players and track athletes. I have a couple of track athletes right now. I work with, I do strength conditioning for high school football here in Kentucky. But seeing those things, those individual workouts translate to the field is something that I really enjoy doing.
Awesome, man. Well, Lloyd, best of luck to you, man. I appreciate you for coming on and sharing your story and your message. I got to remember that the microwave generation.
Microwave generation, man.
There you go.
Stuff quick and hot.
So one last thing, how can we stay in touch with you? Where can we find you?
You can follow me on Instagram at sorry, let me start over. You can find me on Instagram at iamlloydfowler. That's iamlloydfowler, or at Results by Effort and resultsbyeffort.com.
Awesome, man. Again, Lloyd, appreciate you for coming on, and look forward to hearing more about you. And it's great to keep in touch, man. I know it's been several years since the FitOps, but
I keep up with you, brother.
yeah, I see you too. I see you there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's anything I can do to further help you out in your goals and your journey, just let me know, man.
Same with you, man. You enjoying retirement?
No, I got about.
Oh wait, you got a couple years left, right?
Yeah. I'm at 17 right now, so.
I knew it was creeping up on you.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate the time, man, and for coming on the podcast.
All right, man.
All right, brother.